Hey y'all, I'm Todd Bailey.
What's up? It's Arie Lumberdozy.
And this is fucking Brewtal.
Get in the pit, stock up the fridge, and listen. We're here to cover the latest in metal news and craft beer. A match made in hell.
If it makes you bang your head, then we want to hear it. If it tickles your taste buds, share those suds.
Turn it up to 11.
Crack open that beer.
It's about to get brutal.
What's up, Hopwolves? It's your boys, Todd and Arie, coming at you with episode 83 of Brewtal Podcast. We're recording on June 23rd, which actually has a significance for our special guest today. Happy birthday, Mitchell. How's it going?
Oh, thank you, guys. Good. I'm glad to be here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. How old are you turning today?
I am 28 today.
28. All right. Haven't hit your 30s yet. Don't.
No, not quite yet. Yeah, not quite yet. I still feel pretty damn young too, so that's good.
Right on. Do you have any special plans for later tonight with your birthday, or?
So I do, but it just came up earlier, so I'm actually just gonna go meet up with the band that I joined doing front of house sound for. So I'm gonna go meet up with them tonight, just for a little bit, and just kind of talk and discuss some things and plan some things out, but yeah, nothing crazy, nothing major. So other than that, I've just been chilling all day.
Keeping it low key, I like that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. That sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what I never really have huge plans for birthdays or anything. I would much rather just be very low key and just hang out, you know?
Hey, that's a vibe. It's always good to chill every once in a while and relax.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
With everyone listening, yes, we have a special guest, clearly. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do a little bit, but we'll get more to that later, but just a little synopsis.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll give you a little summary real quick. So, yeah, my name is Mitchell Christian. A lot of people know me as 830 Audio, which is kind of like my business audio name. I'm 28 today. I live in Gonzales, Texas, which is a small town about an hour south of Austin. So kind of south central Texas. I mix, master, produce music, mainly metal. I also do a little bit of like hip hop and country stuff on the side when people hit me up for that. I'm a guitarist, love metal. That's pretty much it for a little short summary.
That's what's up. I didn't know you dabbled in other genres.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. My second favorite genre is country for sure. I like all of it. Like I like the old stuff. I like the new stuff. I know a lot of people are always like, oh, I like old country, but I don't like that new stuff. But like I love all of it, from old ass stuff to like 80s, 90s, then even like the new pop country stuff. I mess with all of it. So, but yeah, definitely. Besides that, metal is still my number one for sure.
Oh yeah. We were talking off camera. We're going to keep this thing rolling. You don't drink, which is totally fine. I know we're Brewtal Podcast, but we do accommodate people who don't drink. So we're big about that. We want to promote that. So if anyone's listening, they're part of a band, we still go for people that don't drink. But tell us about what you are drinking today, because it's actually a very cool can of coffee there.
Yeah, so I just bought this earlier because I knew I'd have to have something. This is Black Rifle Coffee Company. What is it? Rich Mocha Espresso, 300 milligrams of caffeine. So it's pretty strong coffee drink. Doesn't have too much sugar or anything. Tastes real good. I don't know a whole lot about the brand. I do know it's like very like pro-America, pro-veteran type stuff. But I just buy them just because they're strong and they taste good. So that's pretty much my reason for having the Black Rifle here.
Oh yeah. How far through the can are you right now?
Oh, not too far. Probably. I just opened it right when we started, so I'm probably about right here right now.
Already.
About an eighth.
Hey, by the time we actually talk to you about all the stuff you do, you're going to be ramped up. Let's go.
Yeah. I actually didn't drink any caffeine all day today until I was waiting for this. So it should hit pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
I'm going to start off for the beers today because Arie just edged me out by like 0.2% on his ABV. That's how we decide here on the podcast who goes first. And actually, I love that are you from Texas originally, or do you just live here?
Yeah, I'm from here in Gonzales.
Right on. The beer I have today is from Freetail, which is down in San Antonio. And I thought it was a nice little Texas theme here. This is the BOWIE BOCK from Freetail Brewing Co. I've featured them before. And just because I shop here at HEB a lot in Austin, it's a lot of Texas beers that I feature. But this can is so cool. I'm going to hold it up a little bit. It's got this cowboy with it's got a skull. He's got like two swords with that are crossed like an X for those listening. And those are
Bowie knives, homie.
Yes, sir.
They're not just swords.
It's got the Texas flag on the back of the can, and you can't really see it because of this glare, but the background is like a Texas map, which is awesome. And it's got little bats, longhorn. I just thought it was awesome to pick for today since we're featuring you. And what's cool is it got a little quote on it. I don't deserve mercy, but I do deserve a drink. So here we go.
Very nice. Yeah, that's a cool can.
Yeah. And I'm going to hold up the glass. This is a bock. It's at 5.3% and pretty much looks like a bock. I don't think there's any variation on any kind of bock. But what I am going to do with this taste test today with the review is see how this compares to Shiner, because that is like the bock everyone knows about, even outside of Texas. So here we go. We're going to get one sip off the tongue. Okay. That's actually really good.
I was nervous there for a second.
When you first sip it on the front end, you get it does make you a little nervous because you're like, okay, what are these flavors? But it's actually like a darker version of a Shiner in a way. I almost feel like I'm getting a little bit of like a mocha flavor in there, which is kind of funny with your coffee.
Right.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Nice.
This is actually super drinkable.
Awesome.
Not too heavy on the palate either.
Yeah, it doesn't look too heavy. It looks pretty, like it's dark, but it looks, lighter.
Yeah.
A lot of the darker beer.
Yeah, when I poured it out, it actually had a really nice head. It was like almost this portion of the glass. Yeah, I would recommend this. This is actually pretty solid, and especially in the Texas heat down here, this is not going to weigh me down too much. Oh, and I forgot to mention, a portion of the proceeds actually benefits the Remember the Alamo Foundation, which is dope.
That's cool.
That's it.
Hell yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, this brewery is actually pretty good with their charities, because I know some of the past beers I've had from them, they've supported other things. So that's what's up.
Yeah, I'm a huge Texas history fan too. I love can nerd out over Texas history forever. So that's very cool.
All right, Arie, you are up with your beer, sir. I'm actually super excited for this. I saw your description and it sounds tasty as hell. So you have the floor.
I am super stoked for this one. I've had this beer many times before, and this wasn't even planned, but this goes with it still being Pride Month. So happy Pride with this guy, Sour Me Unicorn Farts from DuClaw Brewing. These guys are from Rosedale, Maryland. And the big one that I remember having from DuClaw, and it was like probably close to 10 years ago, was Sweet Baby Jesus, which is their peanut butter stout. That was like one of the first to kind of do something like that. So I've had DuClaw many a times, but this one in particular is not only like got a fun can. So for everyone listening, it says Sour Me Unicorn Farts with, of course, a unicorn farting, a rainbow. You couldn't not have that. And it's just got like a lot of blues, a lot of purples. It's very colorful, very playful. And it's coming in at 5.5% ABV, so not much higher than Todd's today. with a really low IBU. It's 10 IBU, so the bitterness, as to be expected for a sour, very low. But the other cool thing about this, because it is a glitter sour ale, I'm going to try my best to capture this, but I'm going to hold it up to the camera here. I don't know if you guys...
Yeah, actually put it a little closer. I can see a little bit of it as you turn it.
Yeah, I could see it in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so that was cool. Like another kind of like one of the novelties of it. Unicorns and glitter go hand in hand. So there's edible glitter in the beer itself. And per the website, it says this glittered sour ale is brewed with cherries, tangerines, and limes. Fruity cereal is added into the mash, and it's finished off with a sprinkle of natural mineral-based edible glitter. A bright, sweet, and tart beer with a hint of malty biscuit. And this is actually, I always forget about this part, but it's a collaboration between DuClaw, the brewery, and Diablo Donuts, which I believe is a big deal in Maryland. Yeah, let's get one on the palate here. And like I said, I'm going to recommend this one because I think it's a lot of fun anyway. And I've had it before, but you know, why not? Here we go. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's very sour, which is exactly what I want. Makes it, this one in particular, like gives you like that real like puckery face. Cause sometimes sours, when they're a little bit more subtle, like you can still get the sourness, but it just like, you're like, oh, it's kind of there. But this one, like the chewiness of it, I'd be like, yeah, that's nice and sour. But you get the cherries for sure and the limes. I don't really get the tangerines too much, but I think like just the tanginess from, well, I guess that would be the tangerine. I don't know. I feel like the cherries and the lime are more prominent, but maybe because I like those flavors a little bit better that there's popping out to me. But yeah, and then actually this is the first time in a long time that we've actually been able to see the beer. I haven't had a glass on here in what feels like years. So it is a darker color, yellow, like a golden straw mainly. So that was cool. The head was really nice when it poured out, came and went pretty fast. But yeah, this is just a fun beer, really. Especially if you like sours. They have a lot of other, like this is a whole series, the Sour Me series. Another one that I had that I really, really liked, I don't know if they do it anymore, but it had Carolina Reapers in it. Ooh. So it was a spicy sour, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, if you can, this one is like, I can't emphasize, like it's just a ton of fun. So I really like this one, Sour Me Unicorn Farts. I pick it up pretty much anytime I see it. One of my go-tos from this brewery.
Hell yeah, man. Yep. That looks like a lot of fun. I don't know if I've had DuClaw before, anything from their brewery, but like I said before, there's been like a couple breweries I've been trying to find, and it's usually like at a gas station or something, a place that like carries like stuff from out of state. You just got to go looking for it.
That's super cool how they put the what did you say, fruity cereal in the mash. That's badass.
It's insane. I mean, even like relaying it back to metal, and I can't emphasize how excited I am to talk about more of your projects. It's just like, you know, how do you put new twists on things that people have had or listened to time and time again and be like, that's what I want. So yeah, putting someone just one day was like, yeah, cereal in the mash sounds good. They're like, you know what? That does sound good. Let's try it. And then it just works.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I would have had no idea that any beer company would be doing that. But yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, that actually makes me think of that 4-grain breakfast beer I had from Martin House up in Dallas or Fort Worth, I think. Yeah, that tasted like a bowl of cereal, which was insane to me. So wow. That might be on my top 5 list. That we're actually next episode. You'll have to keep an eye out for this, Mitchell. But next episode, we're going to do our Q2 best of. So nice. We're going to decide some best ofs for the first half of the year.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah.
I'm already losing sleep over it, dude. There's been too many good albums that dropped within the last 3 months.
Dude, those rankings feel like sports rankings when you watch like ESPN and like who's favored to win this year. And it's just, it feels like the slots are constantly up and down, up and down.
Yeah, dude. I actually before we get into the albums and then our certified brutal bangers, what are some of your top contenders for this year, Mitchell? Like what's really been doing it for you?
Let me think. You know what? Let me go into my Spotify real quick, because I listen to a lot of just like the same old deathcore shit a lot of the time. But
understandable.
Let me see a recent one. It's not an album, but a single with Disembodied Tyrant and Synestia.
Yes.
I got really into Disembodied Tyrant probably like 6 months ago or so. One of my buddies showed him to me, and supposedly that's all one guy. I think he's like 18 or something like that, or 19. He's like a young dude like that. So that was just kind of blew my mind about that. Also the Crown Magnetar stuff, those singles that they've released recently, they're very, very good too. So that's as far as newer stuff. I would say probably the Disembodied Tyrant and Crown Magnetar for sure.
Great fucking picks. And I'm glad you brought both those up, because we'll be talking about both those bands here in just a little bit. They are at the top of their game for sure, and top of the pyramid for the genre that we love so much.
Definitely.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm gonna start us off with the albums, and then what we'll do, Mitchell, after we run through it, we like to go and talk about the ones that we like that dropped today, and ones that we're at least interested in. So we want to get you in on the action and let us know if we missed anything, or the ones that you're stoked for, because it's so hard to keep up with everything that's been coming out lately.
Right. I was going to say, when you start naming some off, some will probably pop into my head and I'll be like, oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
We want that. That's what I'm talking about there.
Hell yeah.
My actual dude. So we'll get in and start with Alicer with the First Offering EP. Then we have Beneath the Hollow with Misery Loves You. True. Body Web. I don't know why that fucks me up. With Train Wreck Simulation, and there's underscores in between Train Wreck and Simulation. Then we have Bone Crown with Marked for Death. Burner with It All Returns to Nothing. Also true. Death Collector with Death's Toll. Dispositions. That is a big distinction there. South of Saints. That's an EP. Then we have Element 80 with AD. Errors of Humanity with Testimony. Frontierers with Act 2 Apocalypse EP. And this one is it's got the accent mark on one of the E's there. So I always want to say it's like Frontierers, like the spazcore, mathcore one, but this is a different one.
Yes.
Then moving on, we have Harm with A Song You Can't Feel Anymore. Judas Iscariot with To Embrace the Corpse's Bleeding. Nice. Mental Cruelty with their long-awaited Returned with Zwilight. Our Vices with the Fog EP. Phantom Corporation with Fallout. Soul Despair with their Crimson EP. Sunder, I'm going to say TSJUDER.
Somewhere in Scandinavia.
Yeah, I really apologize. Anyone that's listening to this show already knows terrible pronunciation. And that album is their Helvegr. Jesus.
That's fair.
I'm trying, guys. And then to round it off, the last three, we have Vacant Voice with Cathartic Beauty, Vexed with their Negative Energy, and then this is one of my favorites. I'll go ahead and say it. Wretched Tongues with the Torment EP. Holy fuck, dude. Yeah, that one and Vexed were the ones that I was most stoked for today, and I've actually gotten a chance to sit down, so highly recommend those. But the Mental Cruelty, Todd and I were talking about it off camera. That one's pretty solid. There's some issues there, but it's just, if you're not into like the new Lorna Shore, you're not gonna like this one at all, because it's pretty similar.
Okay, yeah. I figured same kind of vibe as like the new Lorna Shore stuff, right? The Mental Cruelty. Okay, yeah, because I've seen like the album cover, like that painting. It looks super sick, and I think I've heard some of their songs, but I just kind of figured they were kind of up that alley, like that blackened kind of new blackened deathcore type stuff.
Yeah, very symphonic. Yeah. Basically, to put a summary on how we're feeling about it, there's a little too many. It's like, if you don't want to be compared to Lorna Shore, why did you make your album cover look like that? And why is a couple of your songs sound a little too similar? Like there's like a chord progression in there. I was like, this is Pain Remains.
Yeah.
But there are some standout tracks that I think the back half is really strong. So I highly recommend go in, listen to the whole thing, because there's some really strong tracks there. And the new vocalist that they got,
awesome,
monstrous performance. He's all over the place. He even does some like singing in there. So I was very impressed.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's folk influence too, which is really cool. That is a distinguisher between Lorna and Mental Cruelty. Just wanted to throw that in there before we get into everyone else's picks here.
No, I'm glad you pointed that out. I love that they added that. I do think that makes it stand out a little bit more. For me, Wretched Tongues takes my number one. That EP was so fantastic. The cover art made me think of Winds of Plague a little bit. It's like samurai themed, which is pretty dope. And there's like some Oriental instruments in there to add to the heaviness, which is a nice juxtaposition. Other than that, Mental Cruelty, I do believe everyone should check that out. Shout out to Element 80. They are a new metal band from back in the day, and they're actually from Tyler, Texas, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this album's actually heavier than they've been before. They kind of border on rock a little bit, hard rock, but they definitely have metal elements in there. Other than that, I definitely want to check out Beneath the Hollow, Bone Crown Burner. Heirs of Humanity was actually pretty dope. Some of the songs sounded a little bit the same, but I do think they're onto something there. I love the audio clips that they involve with their music. Other than all that, how about yourself, Mitchell? Anything kind of make a light bulb go off in your brain as far as what you've listened to recently?
So at the list of those, the only one that I've actually listened to is the Wretched Tongues one. That one's super sick. I haven't checked out any of those other ones yet, but the Wretched Tongue ones and the Mental Cruelty one stood out to me too, just because I've seen a lot of stuff about them lately and heard a lot of people like talking about them and sharing their stuff and all that. So I mean, it must be worth, I definitely should check it out. It must be at least worth checking out.
Yeah, I don't want to turn anyone off from checking out. Give it an honest listen, front to back, see what you think. But there's going to be moments there where you're like, wait a minute, I've heard this before. So
you're right. Yeah. But those are the ones that stood out to me. But I would love to. You guys post the list and everything, correct? Okay, yes. Cool. Yeah, yes. I'll get that list, and I always like to make little playlists of stuff and just throw them on in the car. So I'll do that with that list and check them out.
Dude, that's
hell yeah, dude.
In my opinion, the best place to listen to metal is in the car.
Oh yeah, of course, definitely. I feel like when I'm in the car too, I can actually I actively listen to it more instead of just like putting it on at home and then I end up, doing other things and it's just kind of on in the background. I'm not really paying attention. But yeah, when I'm driving, that's when I can really kind of, listen to something and judge how I like it, listen to the mix and everything like that. So
I also feel like I get a little bit more of the bass too in the car.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what's up, dude. Was there anything that we might have missed that dropped today that you would like us and the Hopwolves to know about?
Let me see. So today there is a single that I mixed that dropped from this band out of I think it's just two guys actually. It's out of New Braunfels, Texas, which is about 40 minutes from San Antonio, something like that. Kind of in between San Antonio and Austin. And they just dropped their first single today. Yes, today. And it's called, their name is Tarnished. That's the band name. And then the single is The King's Spite, I believe. It should be out now. I think they set it for 3:00. So.
Right on.
Should be
nice.
out. So yeah, that's
for anyone
Tarnished.
listening. Do you know what kind of genre they're going for?
It's pretty much just like heavy, kind of sluggish deathcore type stuff. Just not much like extra production, just kind of straight guitar, bass, drums, vocals, and just super heavy breakdown type stuff.
That's right up our alley.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna have to go check them out.
For sure. Yeah, it's pretty. I don't know what else they have planned, but yeah, that was their first song, and I got the pleasure of mixing and mastering it. And it was a super heavy song, so yeah.
Hell yeah. That's what we're all about. This we don't often get feedback, so to have it live now, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll have to check out that single there, Mitchell. That sounds like we were talking about, like right up our alley. That sounds fucking sick, and that's a huge feat in itself. The first single from a new band like that, super cool. We're gonna keep that rolling though, and talk about the other singles that we found out today for our certified brutal bangers. And I'm gonna let Todd take this one as he does. And yeah, dude, what do we got this week?
All right, so we are starting things off with "Dead from the Neck Up," which is the song title from Never Pray. Next up, we have the song "Dream Eater" from the band I, Satan, which is featuring Blake Mullins of Disembodied Tyrant.
Right.
After that, we have I, the Devourer, which is Synestia and Disembodied Tyrant. They collaborated together on an EP, so this is one of the singles. So it's so awesome that you brought them up. We can't wait for listeners to check them out. After that, we have the band Sin Deliverance with their single "Deprived of Choice." After that, this is where we are putting your band Southern Dissolution with the new single "Oak." That's gonna be coming out here soon, so we can't wait to hear that.
So excited!
Yes, sir. After that, this is a Brewtal alumni. This is Salem Trials with their new track "Immolation," and they just acquired a new vocalist, and he does a fantastic job. So go check them out. Next up, we have Dal Av, which is featuring Adam on Earth, and this is the Adam from Oceano. The song is "Dominion," and this is a heavy fucking track. Anything Dal Av touches, I swear, is just thal as fuck, and
got some good stuff.
Yes. After that, we have Crown Magnetar with their new single, "Prismatic Tomb." They, one after the other, dude, every one of these singles is making me more anticipated for the album that's dropping this year. Next up, we have Signs of the Swarm with their single "Malady," but I can't not see it and say "Milady."
Milady.
I thought the exact same thing. Yep.
Yes. So I'm hoping it's not that, but it cracked me up every time I see that song title. After that, we have "To the Grave" with a new one, even though they released a banger of an album this year. They have a new single called "Shock Tactics," and in parentheses, "1,000 volts." Again, crazy music video from these guys. They do not hold back. There's like an explicit version, and then there's like the safe for the internet version. So you can check out both. Next up, we have Castiel, which is featuring Distant, and the song title is "Shinigami." After that, we have Dead Skin with "Never Bloom." After that, we have Spliced with "Hypocrite." Next up, we have No Life with their song "Knives Edge." And then we have Distension with their song "Nothing Changes." After that, we have Living Gate with "Internal Decomposition." We're getting into a little death metal here. Following that up with Cannibal Corpse, they just released a new song, "Bloodblind," heavy as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, we have Metalocalypse, Death Clock, we're talking about, with "Aortic Desecration." Welcome back, Death Clock. Hell yeah. And to round it out, the last two songs, we have "Acting Up" from Pain of Truth, which is featuring 2,000, or not 2,000, well, it should be 2,000, 200 stab wounds. They're going to level it up with the stab wounds.
Yeah.
And then
exhausting.
Last but not least, we have "The Threads." That's the song title from Heedless Elegance, and this is featuring Tom Barber of Chelsea Grin. For me, I, Satan stood out. The Synestia, Disembodied Tyrant. Salem Trials was awesome. I love the new vocalists. new Cannibal Corpse, DeathClock. Like I said, welcome back. That Pain of Truth track with 200 stab wounds, dude. I love because deathcore is like essentially death metal and hardcore together, but I love when it's hardcore featuring a death metal vocalist because it just adds to it. Yep. Other than that, Heedless Elegance, dude, is a journey of a track. Like I really did not know where to put that in the list. So it sits at the bottom, but it is kind of an adventure of music with them. There's a lot of different moments, and when Tom Barber comes in, it's really great. Last but not least, though, I want to give a shout out to Southern Disillusion. I can't wait to hear that single. You said it's dropping at 5 p.m. today, which is again 6:23. I don't know. Maybe you can describe a little bit of what the song sounds like to us.
Yeah, for sure. So this one's actually a little kind of different than my previous ones for that. I mean, it's all generally the same, deathcore stuff. But my other ones previously are more kind of they have like symphonic stuff in there and more like production elements, kind of more along the lines of like the Disembodied Tyrant type stuff. Definitely not on that, level of the symphonic production, but I will get there one day for sure. But this one is more of like a kind of like two-step, kind of upbeat deathcore track, kind of like Spite, kind of like that type of vibe. So yeah, I just I always wanted Southern Dissolution to just kind of be more of like that symphonic kind of like modern deathcore type thing, but I just started writing some stuff and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna keep going with it, and just put in the two steps and the kind of like a Body Snatcher mixed with Spite type song.
I like
that sounds
combo.
Fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it'll be good for sure.
Arie, from this list though, what was kind of highlights for you?
I'm pretty much just going to echo everything that you just said and what you said, Mitchell. The one that really stood out to me was the Synestia Disembodied Tyrant. I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be that good when I listened to it. I just I think I was like making a PB&J when I was listening to this, and I almost like sliced through the bread. I'm like, fuck, dude, this is so sick. But yeah, those ones stood out to me. Along with the I Satan, No Life, and Castiel. Of course, like I almost sometimes don't want to say like the bigger ones, like To the Grave, obviously. Sign of the Swarm, like obviously. I can't wait to hear the Southern Dissolution, especially after that description that you just gave us. So that'd be really cool. And and of course, like Cannibal Corpse still sounds just as good as they ever have. And they're like, I mean, that's a legacy band at this point, and it's really nice to have Deathclock back. So yeah, I pretty much just echoed what everyone else said, because it seems like overall the general consensus is the same. But before we move into getting more into what you are all about there, Mitchell, with all your projects and everything, what stood out to you besides the ones that we've already said, or again, if we missed anything that you want to bring up?
Man, pretty much I'm just gonna echo you guys, but the I Satan one, that one stood out probably the most to me out of all of those, besides the Disembodied Tyrant one that we were talking about at the beginning and everything. The I Satan one stood out to me because the vocalist of that band is actually on a Southern Dissolution track that I have called Breeding Annihilation. So me and him have some sort of, kind of internet relationship. And he's been kind of keeping me updated with all that stuff and showing me the artwork before they released it and everything. So, that one stood out to me for sure. And I've only listened to it a few times, but the few times I did listen to it, it was definitely super sick. So, yeah, definitely, I'd say people go check out that one for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really impressed me. I think it's their first song ever.
Yeah,
right?
I think it is. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know if they're like a studio band or if they're an actual, live band. I think they might just be a studio band, but I'm not for sure.
Hey, whichever route you go, we're here for it. Cause,
definitely.
Would like more.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear more from them for sure. And the fact that they got Blake Mullins from Disembodied Tyrant, he seems like a busy person himself. Right. That was a nice touch to the single.
Definitely. Yeah, it's super cool these days how you can, just like one person can make full productions and stuff like that and make some super cool music. I know a lot of like the old heads and stuff, they're kind of like, that's, it's they have it so easy these days and stuff. But like, it's I think it's super, super cool how like just one person can make like a full on, great sounding production from, like their bedroom or living room or whatever.
Yeah, that makes me feel like I'm not doing anything in my life. I'm like, how did you do that? Like, how did you create this masterpiece?
Well, I think that's a good question to lead into your section there, Mitchell. Which one do you prefer, the bedroom or the living room for your productions?
Right. Well, I live in a very, very small little house out here in the country. So I'm kind of in my living room and bedroom right now. So I kind of have like a studio, like not a studio apartment, but like a studio house way out in the country. So yeah, I'm kind of in both of them. So I guess I prefer both then.
I mean, that makes sense as to why everything you've been putting out has been pure fucking gold, dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Let's kind of deep dive into the projects you were part of. Let's start there. So your moniker is 830 Audio, but what does that mean to those listening? You're not only involved with production, but you're also creating music with bands.
Yeah, so 830 Audio, that name comes from just the area code here in Gonzales is 830. So I came up with that name probably back in 2015, 16, something like that. Just been calling it that ever since. I was going to call it Christian Audio, which is my last name, but then I was like, that might kind of like mislead some people and stuff. But so I decided to go with 830 Audio. Yeah, that's kind of how I came up with the name. And then what was the next part?
Well, so I talked about how you're not only a producer, but you also create music. So feel free to list off some of the projects you're involved with.
Yeah, definitely. So so my main gig right now is I just got hooked up with this rock band out of San Antonio called Kingdom Collapse. They're kind of like hard rock, radio rock type stuff. And I got hooked up with them to do front of house sound for them. So I'm actually going, like I said, I'm going to meet up with them tonight just to kind of hang out and talk and stuff like that. They were going on a short little tour in July, kind of like a Midwest run. And then we're going on a pretty big month and a half long tour in September and half of October. So that's kind of like my main, because I'm getting paid to do that and everything. So that's like my main gig right now. That's my main focus for sure. But other than that, just purely mix and master. I also like make I'll do like full productions from scratch, like for like a single vocalist or something like that. Because apparently from what I've learned, there's quite a bit of like people who do vocals, but they don't have any music to put it to, or they don't know how to make the music to put it to. So that's where I come in and usually just get them to, give me a list of 2 or 3 songs, how they like or what they want the vibe to be like. And then I just try to come up with whatever I can, and then I'll mix and master all that. And then also that's kind of like the work I do. And then the projects I'm involved in. So I'd say my main ones now are probably Tarantula, which is me and a guy out of Florida. And then I also have another project with that guy called Heinous Exsanguination. I can't figure out how to exactly say that, but yeah, that's like a slam project. So Tarantula is more like the deathcore, kind of just straight up deathcore stuff. And then Heinous Exsanguination is the straight slam, just very filthy, brutal, just dun 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 dun, stuff like that. And then Southern Dissolution, obviously, that's Southern Dissolution is all me. I write it, perform it, mix, master, do all that stuff. So I like doing Southern Dissolution because I have 100% control over that, and I can just do whatever I'd like to with it. The final one that I'm involved with is a band out of McAllen, Texas, actually, way down south, called God Eater. And I just got hooked up with them probably about a month ago. I haven't met them in person yet, but we've been, doing like Discord writing calls and stuff like that. They all live in separate areas and they all have, kids and families and stuff. So kind of hard to coordinate like an actual meetup. But the plan for that is to eventually start, playing some shows around San Antonio, Austin, around that kind of area of Texas. But yeah, those are the projects that I'm involved in right now. And I can't really, I've been asked to do other ones too, but like after doing God Eater and then, getting hooked up with Kingdom Collapse to do sound and all that, I'm starting to realize that it's better to just keep a few of them and focus really hard on those instead of having like a bunch of them. Then you just you're like, I don't know what to do. It gets pretty overwhelming. So yeah, that's pretty much a brief summary of, what I'm involved in musically wise.
I was going to say, man, I don't know how you find the time. And if you added more, I was going to be like, how are you doing this?
Yeah, no, I don't think I could. But yeah, like I said, someone hit me up to ask if I wanted to start a project or something. And I was like, maybe in the future, but I can't do it right now. I wouldn't be able to put as much, effort and time into it as I would like to. So
I'm going to say, let's turn the clock back a little bit and talk to us about like growing up, like what bands got you into metal. And then also, how did you get into like audio and production?
Okay. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, the first band I was ever into was Kiss. So I remember seeing like Gene Simmons on TV when I was a little kid, and it like scared the hell out of me, but at the same time I thought it was like super fucking cool. So yeah, Kiss was like the first band that I got into as like a little kid, like probably 4, 5, 6, something like that. And then after that, probably around 5th, 6th grade, somewhere around then, I got really into Green Day. And that's about the time I started playing guitar, started listening to Green Day a lot, started learning a bunch of Green Day songs on guitar. So then that transitions into metal, because then after that, the next band I remember getting really into was The Devil Wears Prada. And that was the first band that I ever heard that had like, breakdowns and screaming and that kind of stuff, like that 2000s metalcore vibe. So yeah, I got super into that, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. Like I remember one of my buddies showing me Suicide Silence, The Cleansing, on his old rounded monitor computer and stuff way back in the day. And yeah, it pretty much just snowballed from there. And
do you remember which band you ever saw live? Like the first time?
Let me think. First band I ever saw live, probably. And I cannot even remember. I don't know. I've never really thought about this. I think it was like maybe like a show with like Parkway Drive and like Architects, I think, or something like that. I can't really, or no. Actually, I think the first bands I ever saw live, I think I went to Warped Tour in San Antonio in like 2009, I think was the first one I went to. So yeah, that was the first show I ever went to. Now I remember. Yeah, Warped Tour 2009, and I know Devil Wears Prada was there. I think it was like a Mice and Men, all those bands. A Day to Remember. Yeah, that whole time period of those kind of metalcore bands.
It's a really nice trajectory, and it seems like because I feel like a lot, like I know at least Todd and I, it was like a very similar thing where you get like the intro bands like Kiss. And especially someone like Kiss, because they're so theatrical, and you're just like, what do you do with like, why are you painting your face like this and doing these things? Because I mean, we're really into new metal. That was like our thing, you know, the bread and butter growing up there, and seeing people like Mudvayne and Slipknot, and everyone's like, why are they doing these things? Like, why do they have masks? And so we're like, I don't know, but it's fucking super cool. And then, you know, you just kind of get like heavier and heavier and heavier. And, to the point where you're like, I don't know what they're saying, but like sounds cool and I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how I to be honest, I really don't care. I'm one of those people who doesn't really care about lyrics that much with like super brutal music. Like as long as it sounds cool, then that's cool with me. You know, I don't care what they're saying.
Yeah, as someone who's gone into death metal more, that's pretty much the viewpoint I go into with it. It's like, as long as it sounds good, like I'm down for it.
Yeah. With those genres, I treat the vocal kind of just as like another instrument. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, like, how do you, like, if you're writing riffs or like you're doing a vocal part or anything like that, how do you decide to be like, this is Southern Dissolution, or like this is Tarantula, this is Gaudy or Hangus Exsanguination? Like, how do you just know, or is there like a process to it?
So usually when I go to write something, I usually have in mind kind of like what I'm writing for. Like if I'll kind of like schedule out certain evenings, like, okay, I'm going to write for Heinous Exsanguination tonight. And then the next night I'll write for Tarantula, and then the next night for Southern Dissolution. But that can also kind of change up a little bit, because there have been times where I've written some stuff for Southern Dissolution that ended up being like on a Tarantula song, you know. But yeah, I usually kind of have an idea of like what I'm writing for when I sit down to do it. So yeah, because I know some people, they'll just like kind of just write a whole bunch of stuff and then pick and choose what they want to use, you know, certain things for. But yeah, I usually have a pretty like clear direction in my head of like what I'm writing for when I sit down to do it.
I mean, that seems like it's got to be the, like, you explaining that makes the most sense to me, because I'll do the same thing if I'm like, if we're doing stuff for Brewtal, like I'll sit down and like, it's Brewtal day, and then the next day is like, okay, I need to write something for this script, or I need to edit something. So trying to balance all that stuff, because it's a blessing and a curse having like that type of that creative mindset to be like, oh, this is cool. Because there's so many times where I'll personally, like, I'll be writing something and be like, no, I should write that for this thing, or, you know, I should do this editing thing for this part. And
exactly.
So it's all, you know, art's always fun like that. Sometimes it's frustrating, at least for me, because then I'm just like, I didn't do the thing that I needed to do, but I made progress on this thing. So that's cool.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, like, because it is kind of like a blessing and a curse to, like, you know, be very, like, when I sit down to write, like, okay, this is for Tarantula, but then like I can't really, you know, sometimes just can't really come up with much stuff, and it's like, but I meant to sit down and write this, you know, but it, at the same time, it is good. At least it works for me to have that kind of clear direction of like, okay, this is what I'm doing today. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I kind of want to go back a little bit, because I asked you like two questions, so we'll get to the second part now. Just as far as audio, like, what got you into it, and like, how did that like get you on this trajectory?
So yeah, I started, not really related to audio, but I started playing guitar when I was like 10 or 11, something like that. Never really thought about like production or anything along those lines. I first got into audio because I went to, after high school, I went to the Art Institute in Austin for audio production, just because I was already, you know, into music. I was playing in bands and stuff, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool, audio production. So that kind of got me started with it. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got into, you know, actually producing and mixing and all that stuff. I've always written music, you know, but I never really had, especially when I was younger, I just wanted to like play guitar and stuff. I never had a like dream of like, you know, becoming like a producer or anything. But yeah, the Art Institute in Austin, when I went for audio, that's what started it all, for sure.
Hell yeah,
it's awesome.
That's so crazy. In my current backyard, that's where you you learned your chops.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Other than that, Arie, you wrote this question. I'm kind of curious about like your routine for mixing and writing. You sort of talked about it a little bit, but like, what like gets you into that mindset to sit down and write something?
So yeah, for I was looking over the skeleton of the show earlier and thinking about this. So they're both kind of different. So for writing, it can be like sometimes I'll have it planned out, like I was saying, like all day, like okay, tonight I'm gonna write for this project, or I'm just gonna write in general. Or sometimes I'll just be kind of chilling and I'll think of something and I just kind of start writing. You know, it just kind of happens and I start doing it. So yeah, that's kind of like my process for how I get into writing and stuff like that. But for the mixing, that's kind of like a different approach, because I usually, like, whether it's, you know, some of my own stuff or someone sends me stuff to mix, I always like to make sure that it's like all edited, like all like the technical stuff is like done before. So like I'll do all that one day before. And then the next day when I actually sit down to mix it, I'll be sure that all that like little technical stuff is all done and taken care of. So I don't have to focus on any of that, you know, so I can just go in there and be creative and start mixing too. And plus, just so my ears don't get stale on it if I'm sitting there and like editing something, you know, I've been hearing it for the last 2 hours. Then if I go to mix it, my choices might be a little off just because I've been, you know, listening to it for the last 2 hours. So yeah, I would say for the mixing part, probably definitely more of a like a tech, not as creative as an approach as like the writing, where it can just kind of hit and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start writing something right now. You know, it's more of like a planned out kind of thing. Like, okay, I'll edit it this day and then I'll mix it this day, take breaks in between so my ears don't get too stale and all that good stuff. So yeah, the mixing, like I said, is definitely a more like technical approach compared to just like spur of the moment creativity stuff that goes along with the writing.
And as far as influence, is it kind of like what you're listening to, or do you kind of like get an idea from another genre, or
so like for writing?
Yeah, as far as writing.
Yeah, I would say pretty much just what I'm listening to. Yeah, I've never really been able to like pull stuff from like other genres and like put them into a deathcore song. That's just never really how my brain has worked for that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'd say it's probably just the stuff that I'm listening to, or like I'll just be driving sometimes and I'll like hear a cool part in a song and I'm like, oh shit, I got to remember that. So I'll write the part down. And then when I go to write, I'll like kind of play that back and listen to that and, you know, use that as some sort of inspiration for whatever I'm trying to come up with.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
With our time remaining, I do want to kind of give you this platform to promote what you do, which is E83 audio. So kind of tell the listeners just what you're about and like how to get in touch with you and like what you can do for them if they're interested.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. So if anyone would like, you know, I do everything from just mixing and mastering. I also record music too and produce. If you're in this area around Gonzales, Texas, I have a not in this house, but in another location, I have a pretty nice space to record and everything. So yeah, I do recording, mixing, mastering. I also do, like I said, I also make like songs from scratch for people, like for single vocalists and stuff like that. So those are the main three things that I do, I would say, is recording, mixing, mastering, and then I call it just producing. That's kind of like a broad term, but that the producing part is, yeah, just like making a song for somebody from scratch pretty much. And if you want to get in contact with me, I'd say the best way is probably Instagram. I do have a TikTok too, but I don't really post on there. It's I don't know. I just don't. I can't really get into TikTok too much. So yeah, I'd say Instagram is probably the best way. And my username on there is at 830_audio.
Yeah, look for the, I think it's a Canon.
Yeah, for Come and Take It.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Texas vibe. Can also, listen on all streaming platforms to Southern Dissolution, Tarantula, which is TYRANTULA, like tyrant, but tarantula. And then also Heinous Exsanguination and God Eater as well. All those should be on everywhere you can check music out.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you again. Oh, go ahead.
I got one more before we wrap it up here.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Since you have so many projects, and for any of the listeners that haven't, I don't know why they haven't listened to it. We talk about these bands all the time on here. What is like a good intro? Like what would you suggest? You have the Oak coming out from Southern Dissolution today, but like what would you say to be like, oh, I've never heard of Tarantula. What song would you say to listen to?
Well, for Tarantula, I'm pretty biased on that because me and him have only done one song together. He's a single vocalist as well, and he had another guy writing for him all the previous stuff. But, the latest song is called Graveyard Rats. And, I'd say that's a good intro to it. It's just straight up, raw, brutal, fast, heavy deathcore, no extra like symphonic things or anything, just straight up brutality pretty much. So yeah, that's Graveyard Rats from Tarantula.
How about the other projects?
Any other standouts for those guys?
For sure. Let's see. So Southern Dissolution, I'd say a good intro track for that is it's a song. It's the first single I ever released from it. It's called XNE. And that features Dan Tucker from Crown Magnetar. So he actually did all the vocals on that one. So that's not, I did all the music and mixing and mastering and all that, but he's the main vocalist on there. So I'd say that's a good one to check out and just kind of get the whole vibe. And then what else? Heinous Exsanguination, that's pretty easy because we only have one single out right now. So you can check out that one single. I think it's called Bodies Open Easier Than You Think. So yeah, that's just super brutal slam stuff. And then God Eater has one EP out right now. To be honest, I do not even remember the name off the top of my head, but if you just type in God Eater, you'll see it. It's like a purple cover. It looks super brutal, super sick.
Hell yeah, man.
Love it.
Other than that, this is kind of our moment to say goodbye, but we really appreciate you coming on at the show.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, clearly we're fans. We have featured so much of your music. I kind of feel like this is how this came to be.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate it. And we should, I'm down to do it again for sure. Whenever you guys want to, just let me know and we can do it. This was fun. I've done one podcast before back in like 2018, and that was like in person and stuff. And that was kind of a different vibe. So this was a much better experience for sure.
Oh, cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah, for sure. No, I really enjoyed it.
That's awesome. Yeah. You're going to make us cry here, man.
Well, to all the Hopwolves listening, thank you for taking the time to, hear about everything we talked about today. And there's only really one thing left to say is cheers to everyone and stay brutal.
And happy birthday again, buddy.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you guys. Thank you. I really appreciate it for real.